Okay, what's happening, people? Jono here from Fitness Education Online. Welcome to our channel if it's your first time on here. And it's actually a specific series. If you've landed on this video here, I've got a specific series which is all about social media marketing tips for fitness professionals. What I've done is I've gone and sought out the 10 best social media marketing professionals, specifically for fitness professionals in the world, and they're going to give you their top 3 tips in less than 10 minutes. Now, I'm going to shoot over and give them a bit of an introduction in a second. Just before I do that, let me tell you that we've also got another series, which is business tips in general. So this one here is all social media marketing. We've got another one, which is business based. Now, I've interviewed the same people on both of them because they're very closely related, obviously. So it's the same introduction for both. So if you get to the introduction, you're like, well, hold on, haven't I heard this exact same introduction before? Yes, it has. I've just used the same introduction. You could call it, I don't know whether it's lazy on my behalf or it's just smart or time efficient on my behalf. I like to call it smart and time efficient. You can call it what you want. But anyway, let me introduce this week's guest. I've got a good one on the line this week, a good friend of mine from Queensland, Australia. She's the Challenges Manager for the Fitness and Lifestyle Group. If you haven't heard of them before, essentially all the biggest fitness brands in Australia, they run Fitness First, Good Life, Jets, Barry's Boot Camp, and no matter where in the world you're listening from or watching from, you've probably heard some of those brands anyway. And before that, she was the national personal training manager at Fitness First, which is the biggest gym here in Australia. So when it comes to getting clients in a personal training gym-based setting, there's very few people that know more about the topic than her. So without further ado, let me introduce Miss Tahnee Donkin. And Tahnee, let's see your tips.
Okay, my first sales tip would actually be to reverse the sales process. What I mean by this is if you think about all of the objections that you come across, quite often it's money or it's time or it's injuries or whatever the objections are, think of the objections and see how you can kind of reverse engineer your sales process so that you actually solve those problems throughout your sales process. And for me, sales isn't just when you're sitting there talking about money. Sales actually starts from the first conversation you have with that prospect. So from the time you have that initial conversation to the time that you're talking about money, you want to solve all of those problems, and not in a salesy way, just work it into the conversation. For example, to overcome the objection of, I might need to run this past my partner before I start personal training. Well, first of all, let's find out if they have a partner or someone else in their life that makes those decisions alongside them and see how they feel about it. And make sure we're really bringing them into the conversation all the way through. So by the time we get to the sales process, we already know that their partner is on board. We've eliminated the objection. If it is money, if that's a potential objection, let's just find out, how much they might be willing to spend or invest on their health and fitness and put in a really comfortable conversation in session 1 or right at the start. So we've already overcome a lot of those issues by the time we get to the actual sale. So if we can think of every objection that we're normally given, how can we solve those before we even get to the sales process? So by the time we talk about money, there's really nothing else to discuss. We already know that person wants to train with us. It's just a matter of how much money they're actually going to be willing to spend. So that's probably the biggest tip that I can give you. The second one, it's not going to be a crowd pleaser, this one, I guarantee, but this is to role play and practice. I know everyone's heard this before, but really we want to practice selling so much that we can overcome any objection with our eyes closed, no matter what someone throws at us. So nothing becomes a surprise to us. So how do we do this? If you're working in a gym environment, you can utilize your manager or some of the other heads of departments that work there. You can utilize any of the other PTs that work there, utilize your friends and your family, and just practice selling with them and ask them to make it hard for you. Ask them to throw you some curveballs, make it difficult, make it challenging, and try and find the fun in overcoming it. So rather than seeing it as a big, scary obstacle, actually make it fun and see, okay, cool, I've just been given a challenge. Now, how can I overcome this? And if you do it enough times, number 1, sales won't seem scary. Number 2, objections won't seem scary. And number 3, all of a sudden, you go, oh, I know how to solve this. I've got this. I've done it before. So that's another one. And the third one, and this is a really big one, is to listen to your prospect, because it's about them, it's not about you. And if you're trying to push onto them your ideas and what you want for them rather than what they want for themselves, it's going to be really, really hard to sell to that person. Now, this comes back to that first time you have a conversation with them. Invest as much time as you possibly can in getting to know them as a person, and allow them to do the talking and allow you to do the listening. So you are building a really great relationship, you're listening to them, and then once it comes to the sales process, what you need to offer up to them needs to be in exact alignment with what they want and what they need, because you've spent the time understanding those things. So third tip is listen.
All right, you can tell Tahnee's experienced, right? Well, usual deal, if you like the video, just hit like and make sure to leave a comment below. The comment I recommend is just say thank you to Tahnee, because she's given up her time to give us some free tips. So the least we can do is say thank you down below in the comments. So let's say thank you down there. If you like this sort of stuff, I recommend joining our community Facebook group, the Fitness Education Online Community Facebook group. There's like 14,000 trainers in there. Everyone is super supportive. We all share tips and ideas. I'll put the link down in the description, and I would love to see you in there. And I'm going to hand it back over to Tahnee. Tahnee, if we want to follow you or hear more about you, what do we do?
Yeah, so to contact me directly if you have any questions or you'd like any support or advice, you can find me on Instagram or on LinkedIn, especially LinkedIn. You can just find me, search for Tahnee Donkin. I'm the only one out there. So on LinkedIn, I'm Tahnee Donkin, and then on Instagram at Tahnee Donkin. Super easy. And if you have any questions around any of the brands that I support as well, especially any recruitment opportunities, you can email me directly at tahnee.donkin@fitlg.com. So that's TAHNEE.DONKIN@FITLG.com.
So that's it for today's episode. I would love to invite you into the Fitness Education Online Community Facebook group if you're not in there already. It's a free Facebook group. There's thousands of trainers in there. We all share tips and ideas. Everyone's super supportive. And that's really what we do at Fitness Education Online. So I'll see you in there.